And we are back for the fifth and final hour of Today for the Awake Nation. We are joined by Karen Britt. Karen, how are you?
I'm doing great and glad to be here.
You are the East Coast hub and the ears of the nation. Actually,
Yes.
she hears it all, folks. And then we're also joined by Teresa Tyndale. And how are you, Teresa?
I'm great. Thank you for having me today.
Thank you. And then Tara Crete, you made it. Sacred Valley Podcast.
I did. Hi, everyone. Hi, ladies. How are you?
You are looking marvelous. So normally we have Carrie Cassidy today. However, Carrie Cassidy's in the field, and we are privileged to have Ucij. He still is not checked into prison yet, so he's gracing us with his expertise. I'm going to bring him on in. How are you?
Good morning, ladies. How is everyone
Good
doing?
morning. You're looking fine. You look a little gold today.
Yeah, I got
some golden news for us.
Well, I was watching the end of your show, and there's a lot going on in relation to that, especially the COVID information that's coming out. And not only are they trying to do the anthrax combination, but they're also right now working on a hemorrhagic fever, which is actually much worse than COVID itself or anthrax was.
You want to hear a really weird short story?
Sure.
When I was coming out of MK Ultra, I was hanging out at the Starbucks because I had to use the Wi-Fi. And I met a girl in there who said that her father was murdered. I went to her house. I won't elaborate on it, but she said that they'd experimented on her since childhood for dengue fever. And then she took me out to get something to eat. And I said, I go, and we were being stared at. We were being watched. And I said, you need to like have something to drink, something cold to drink, because you've got a very bad fever right now. She's like, yes, I told you they were testing me for dengue fever. So she had that in her system. And at that point, I actually called my handler. I know it was wrong, but I said, I think I need to get out of here because I think she actually has dengue fever.
Huh. Crazy. Yeah, I don't know. I was working on a really big investigation, and I went to Baltimore, and I just happened to, we were basically locked up in a hotel for 2 weeks, never left the room, just constantly.
Lost him. Let me just text him and let him know. Tara, what have you been working on while I get him back?
Well, for me, I'm starting to exit a little bit. I'm leaving tomorrow I'm driving north, so I'll be on the road for like 2 or 3 days. I'll still be tapped in. I can't help it. Every morning I wake up wondering what the heck they're going to be throwing at us next. So many things happen so quickly right now. I'm wondering, I would love to know from these ladies, what hill would you die on when it comes to what's happening right now? Like for some it's 9/11, for some it's January 6th, for some it's child trafficking. I'm just curious.
Mine would be MK Ultra and child trafficking because they're one and the same. Let me bring them on back. There he is.
Ladies.
I'll check. You're back.
Technology. So yeah, I sat down with a buddy and I should have had a beer, but I had a hot chocolate and it tasted weird. And for the next like 25 days, I was so sick. So I know I got poisoned. But back onto the COVID stuff.
Oh my God.
Do you think he's saying he was poisoned? Where did he get the hot chocolate? I think I missed that part.
I think it was out in a restaurant and he was poisoned. He got very, 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 very ill.
Do you think that was random, or do you think someone was?
No, he's been targeted because he's been working for Project Veritas since 2006.
Wow.
2026 will be 20 years, right? Is that right? And he's back again. We're all gonna have to just bear with him. Okay. You're back.
Back like magic. Sorry about that.
Oh my God.
He must be in well, I won't say a dead spot, but he's in a spot
don't
where
say
He's in a dead zone or
Flat
something.
zone.
Act like magic, or he's being interfered with because
Mm.
they don't want him on the show. So I can't say one way or the other, but we're just going to have to deal with this, ladies. Yes, he was poisoned and he was very sick for quite some time. The CIA as you know, they'll poison your food. They'll actually send an agent into your house to go into your refrigerator, somebody you might even know, and take out your food supply. I know that when we were in Bastrop, Susie was helping this homeless individual, but I did not trust him. He came and I just bought a bunch of naked juice, and like 4 different containers. It's kind of expensive, and I don't have those kind of resources. And he opened every single one and took a cup out of it, and I threw them all out.
I would have too.
Because you
Right.
don't know, I don't know who that person is, and it's not being paranoid, it's being judicious, especially when you know that you're targeted. And Teresa, you know what I'm talking about. When you know that you're targeted, you need to be judicious. Now, you don't have to be like Jerry in conspiracy theory and put a chain and a lock on your food, and then he also put a lock on his like grapefruit juice and his coffee beans. You don't have to actually do that. Okay, we're gonna try it again. Here he's back. Hola,
So
senor.
sorry. Somebody
What's
just
going
doesn't
on?
want me to talk today.
Are you like in a bad place?
No, I've got good reception.
All
I
right.
don't know what's going on.
Okay, so we were talking about you being poisoned.
Yeah, so I was poisoned and it was pretty miserable. Luckily, I only had the whipped cream off the chocolate, and I took one little drink and it tasted so bad that I just didn't drink the rest of it. And thank God, because I wouldn't be here today, I'm sure. But onto the COVID stuff. Yeah, right now they're trying to mutate it with everything they can because they're not done with us yet. And India actually used CRISPR-9 to reverse engineer both the SARS-CoV-2 and COVID-19, and they found that basically it was mixed. There was different cleavage sites of the DNA, markers. So one was CoV SARS-2, the other one was HIV, and then they had their new spike protein that they had mutated from the bats. And also, of course, let's not forget that this all started basically back in 2013 with the humanized mice that we had uncovered through documents, that were showing that they were sending baby brains, thymus, and liver to the Wuhan lab of animal studies. And so the Wuhan lab of animal studies and the Wuhan virology lab were actually sharing information so they could create this genetic hybrid of 5 different.
And again.
Wow.
Yeah. Reminds me of somebody who had their internet cut right before they were supposed to come on the show. I don't know who that was, but
It happens all
Like
the time.
the exterminator was coming.
right, the exterminator. Do you want to tell that story?
Oh, it's like I was supposed to get on with you, and I mean, right before the power went out, and then this guy, my husband was riding up the road in his um, hot rod, and he happens to drive by the house, and here comes this guy walking up the driveway, and he says he's with pest control. And Glenn
You know what
said, "Did
that
you
is.
have a card?" And he said, "No, we don't use cards because we want to, tree
saving the
hugger kind of
trees.
stuff." I'm
We're
like,
saving the trees.
okay, so you want to save the tree, but you want to kill the bugs,
Right?
maybe.
The bug man. And then shortly
Yeah.
thereafter, your internet just went down.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't you say you
Yep.
disappeared too?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Like good spooks do. And here's the other thing, even if he had a card, because that would be meaning that he was actually prepared as an agent. I
Yeah.
mean, seriously, Karen, wouldn't you be prepared if you were going in undercover and saying that you were the bug guy?
Yeah.
Wouldn't you have a card, like a fake ass card with a fake
Uh-huh.
uh,
Yeah.
address and phone number and a picture of a bug on it or something?
Yeah.
Right? Easy enough
Eco-friendly
to make.
exterminator.
Right, eco-friendly exterminator, or have it on your phone. Hey, look, here's my thing on my phone. I don't want to carry any cards. I mean, seriously. And and we know we know what it means when they say we're the bug guy. Like, okay, so you're bugging me right now, right? and, and then also then we're the exterminator, and you're like, really? So are you an assassin? I mean, I actually asked when Chet Swift, who actually ended up dying for us, when he came, he was a sniper, 20 years career sniper, and he came to protect us on the ranch, and he died protecting us. And I said, Chet, I know you're a career sniper and you are also a mercenary, so I have to ask, did you come here to kill me? I mean, he didn't have to answer correctly, but sometimes you give him a question and they actually, answer. And he said, no, I came here to protect you and to be a shield for Susie, for her son, and for me. And then he actually died being a shield. He took the bullets that were more than likely meant for us.
I remember when telling the truth used to get people in trouble, but it was far away from us. It wasn't like just normal everyday people like us that want to tell the truth about what's going on in the world. Like, we're in danger now. Look at poor Dr. Buttar.
Yes.
This gentleman just being poisoned because he's been trying to expose the truth for 2 decades. I just remember hearing stories, and I never thought any of us could be a victim. And just for wanting to be honest and tell the truth. And that's really a frightening prospect.
Yes. And this is something that they do. They will poison you, and you are back again, Ucij.
Sorry about that. Why does it feel like a Monday?
I don't know. But where's your shoe phone? Just use your shoe phone, dang it.
Oh, I know, huh? Unfortunately, the FBI took all of my undercover
They took your shoe
gear.
phone?
They took everything.
When I have this one girlfriend, I'm like, she calls me from the bathroom all the time. I'm like, are you on your shoe phone? No, I don't have the shoe phone right now.
You should bring that back.
Right.
So anyways, so that's what's going on. And that was actually what the whole Ukraine war was about with Russia, because Putin didn't want to have the 12 biolabs. Actually, I think it's been upgraded. I think there was 22 reported biolabs now.
Those are just reported ones, right?
Yeah. And of course, this was all funded by the DoD, through the Obama administration, and of course through Obama 2.0, name is, let's go Brandon.
Right. He actually thought that was a compliment.
Yeah. Well, did you see him? Did you see him yesterday? Like, he's like saluting and looking at his watch. You know what I mean? The guy is just he is not the.
I just remember when he first went into the White House and he got locked out. They locked him out. And then also in his ear, they're talking to him in his ear, and they say, okay, salute the Marines. And he says out loud, salute the Marines. You're like, holy crap. And all of his staff is just going, oh my God, this is going to be a long 4 years.
I got to tell you though, this is all the Republicans' fault.
Probably.
This is all because we slowly let them, take this is death by 1,000 small cuts,
Yes.
But we let them take control for so long. We let them take over our colleges. We let them take over our Department of Justice. Now they've infiltrated, they're all over. They're all throughout everywhere. And it's all our fault because, they come at you all, we just want to be left alone, and then we just want to be married, and then let us read to your children. You know what I mean? So there's an evolution, and the problem is that when you believe in God and you believe in live and let live, there's a paradox there where you let in the devil, and it's really, and I've seen this coming for a long time. I've seen this coming for, the last 22 years. That's why I started I took about 5 years of it, and then I was like, you know what, we've got to all get engaged, and we've got to fight this, or
I was
else
going to
we're
ask
done.
you, why did you decide that you were going to, be a whistleblower? Why did you decide you were going to go undercover?
Um, I guess the real breaking point was the Epstein scandal. Okay, and I used to be pretty faux liberal as well. Okay, so but my I think it was basically because I want to take care of women and children. There's something innate in men that we want to, that we will run into a burning building. You know what I mean? That we
Yes.
want to jump in front of the bullet or the knife to protect our loved ones, women and children. And when the Epstein revelations came out, I knew, because I had already been a research hound for like 5 years, 6 years by this time. And I just felt like that, I was watching him get away with it. And right away, I knew what was going on. I knew that this was basically a pedophile ring, and that it was uh, there was a lot of people heavily invested in it. And you know what? I bet if we could actually get true information on who the pedophiles and molesters are, we'd probably be astounded at the percentage,
Yes.
and we'd probably be astounded at the percentage in our own families. Okay, because my mom was molested by her stepfather. Both of my sisters were molested by uncles, and so I think and the thing is these uncles were the loudest mouth Bible thumping Christians ever. So there's this covert, um I don't know what to call it, just a sick person that loves to infiltrate, and like like oh, I can't think of his name now. Damn it. He was like a comedian in England, Sir something. Dang, I'm so
Seville?
familiar with his voice, his name. He's got the long, dirty,
Is it
gray
Seville?
hair. Seville, yeah,
Oh,
Seville.
yes.
Jimmy.
Jimmy Seville.
Yeah.
Yeah, good old Jimmy. There's
I call him Jimmy so evil,
most definitely,
so
most definitely.
vile.
And I mean, this is happening. I mean, I just saw yesterday that I think it was Philadelphia or Pittsburgh, somewhere back east there, where one of the Catholic Church, they found a guy that had molested over 1,000 kids.
Yes, they have in Illinois. They said 2,000 children in like decades, which that's a fabrication of clergy, and they were just, I believe, just pinpointing Illinois, and so we know that figure is just a total fabrication, because there have been thousands upon thousands upon thousands of children that have been molested by priests within. I won't even say just the Catholic Church. I will say in any religion that uses priests, and then also the mega pastors are doing it as well. And I've written a chapter on my blog, which is my name, Shepherd, SHEPARD, the word entertainment.blogspot.com. And I wrote it in November of 2019, when everyone was saying that Kanye West was saved. And I'm like, dude, no, and then right after that, he produced Little Nas Satan shoes. And, I mean, and he's working with Marilyn Manson, and, I mean, people are blind to this. So my chapter is about the new false idols of today are the mega pastors, the musicians, and the actors. They are false idols, which we idolize them. Why they call it a teen idol? The people, the children that were on television programs as teens, they are idolized. And I don't idolize any man, and that means any man or woman. My go-to is Jesus Christ. That's just me.
Did you see the video that Ricky Schroeder put out?
I did. As a matter of fact, I tried to contact him.
So powerful.
He has now his company in Malibu. The number doesn't work. the website doesn't work. It's like held by GoDaddy or whatever. So I'm pretty sure I found where he moved, which I'm not going to say, but I did try to contact him at one email that I found, and I'm just going to try to keep contacting him because he was talking about Hollywood and a video that he observed when he was a child actor. Someone gave it to him, and he brought it to his friend and said, "Is this real?" And it was a satanic ceremony with, I believe, a corpse, because he said that they cut it open on the side and pulled out body parts and then smeared the blood on themselves and then did a satanic ritual dance and then all had sex with one another. I mean, this stuff is real. And he brought it to his friend, and his friend said, verified, yes, that's real. It was on a VHF. So, we don't even have those anymore. It's like back to the Blockbuster days, right? And his friend said, this is real. Bring it back to where you got it.
Yeah, when I was in Hollywood, I got invited to a lot of parties, and they would tell me, "Oh yeah, they're called snuff parties," and I was like, "Why is everybody doing snuff? Like
Right.
tobacco? Like snorting tobacco? Like what a party!"
Yeah.
And they're like, "No, they get somebody and then they kill them in front of everybody." And I was like, "Yeah, right." And they'd be like, "No, come check it out." Now, had we had the button cams and all the other kind of cameras that we have now, I would have went just to go film and get everybody busted. But the truth is that the police are in on it.
Yes, they are.
The local politicians, the
Yes,
judges.
they are.
I mean, I got 10 times the sentence in prison than a second offending pedophile.
Mm.
Okay, the guy that came after my son, he drove all the way up. He drove 110 miles to try to meet my son in a park. I had already collected all the evidence and gave it to the local police or the local sheriff. They arrested him to find 8 other children that he was communicating with. Okay, he got 2 months in jail, and they basically time served him, and then gave him 2 years of probation. And he was targeting 9 children. They basically
and who knows what was going to
fabricated.
happen with those children, if he was going to murder them, if he was going to rape
Oh,
them.
he had a trunk full of rope and duct tape and all kind of hammers, and who knows what would have happened. But I mean, how many of you ladies think that sexual predators can be redeemed somehow?
I was just going to say that. It doesn't, they can't be. I think I don't know if we've ever heard of anyone that have been like cured of this problem.
No,
so I don't know why they would release them.
In the DSM, this is my opinion that I'm putting out there, but in the 50s, they changed the word psychopath to segregate it and call it a sociopath. They segregated, they said the sociopath can be treated. And they did this right after Psycho came out, because people were like, oh, he's a psychopath. Well, then he's going to stab me to death with a knife. And so they changed it in the DSM, and they said, and this was for billable purposes, they said that the psychopath cannot be cured, but a sociopath can. And then they put parameters upon the sociopath, narcissistic personality, etc. And I just say, I don't even use the word sociopath. I say that's for me, and I know it's a clinical term, which is a real clinical term. I say it's just a palatable term for psychopath. I was married to a psychologist. He actually had his MA in psychology. He didn't act as a psychology. He didn't act as a psychologist. He acted at one point as a counselor, but both of his parents were MFCC's, marriage family crisis counselors, for over 38 years within the military industrial entertainment complex as well.
Well, how many of you ladies think that we should if someone's dog attacks your child, they put the dog down? How many of you think we should do that with pedophiles and molesters?
I think it should be right away, right now. We just, here in Florida, we just instilled the death penalty again. Like it's back here.
Oh, I didn't know that it ever went away.
Yeah, it has in a lot of states. And I think now we're starting to realize the amount of evil on this planet. Is anyone else shocked? I mean, I knew there was evil, but boy, it's popping up in every corner and under every crevice. It's really unbelievable. And I don't even know if I was for it before, but now, I mean, even you see, even with castration, that doesn't work. That's been proven
No,
not to
either
work. It
chemical
doesn't do anything.
castration because they'll just use an implementation because they're psychopaths.
Right.
Yeah, it's
So
in the head. It's
no,
not
it's
in the
in the
penis. It's in
head.
the
It
head.
doesn't matter whether it's in the body, whether they can physically rape you with their own body. They will find a way. They will, rape you with instruments. They will, cut you up. They will torture you. It's the sadistic nature of the psychopathic personality that is bent on destruction and chaos and
It's
terror.
the inequality of power, and what they're doing now is they're trying to normalize it with the maps, minor attracted people, and there's a huge attempt to normalize all of this because so many people are caught uh, as pedophiles right now. And so this huge attempt to normalize it, there was a PhD student who came out from the University of Virginia who actually had done their thesis on minor attracted people, trying to say that, well, that's a normal, or it's normal to feel that way just as long as you don't act on it. And it's not normal to feel that way. And trying to get people to control their behavior has rarely worked. And it's the power inequality. It's the what they enjoy is having the power over wielding power over someone so helpless. And like you were saying, Penny, it's really psychopathic.
It is. I just did a story today on an individual, so I'm going to have to look into it a little bit more, and you might want to look into it, Ucij, in Texas, who murdered his whole family because he said they were cannibals and he was afraid they were going to eat him. It's very possible, right? Like maybe the kid was telling the truth. He killed his entire family, shot them because he said that they were cannibals and that they were going to eat him. So what did this guy see? I mean, is he actually mentally unstable, or what did he actually see?
Sometimes it's easier to say something like that instead of saying you're being child sexually abused.
Correct. But he killed his whole family, Teresa.
Yeah, well,
they were going to eat him.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes it's easier to say stuff like that than than to say what's really happening. And I don't think we talk enough about women's role in what goes on. I mean, Maxwell is a very good example. She was put in jail for trafficking children to nobody. And I don't think we talk enough about the role of women and how they enable and how they cover up. Yeah, we know there are really evil men who do this. There are really evil women who enable it and not they know about it and they cover it up, and that doesn't get enough attention either. The role of women, it's men and women too.
Yes, it is.
That's a good point. Or they ignore it, Teresa. They don't say anything about it. They turn the other way. How many children have you heard tell their story? They were being molested by the father or the uncle or the cousin, and the mother didn't do anything about it.
Yeah. And females molest as well. My mother was a female molester. She molested both the boys and myself, and more than likely my other sister too.
And the UN, you've probably all heard it, just came out a little while ago stating that, sex with underage people was in fact considered consensual. This is the United Nations. That is just appalling. But like you were all saying before, they're trying to normalize this. They're trying to make it seem like they're people too. It's okay as long as they don't act on it. And they're grooming people to believe that. They are educating people in the colleges. The next generation coming up is going to be really interesting because there's going to be a mix of people who don't jive with the American way anymore, that don't jive with the way that I feel like normal people think, which is you do not have sex with children. That's just that's off the board. And I'll tell you something, God knows if you even think or have a fantasy in your mind about having sex with a child, maybe I don't know it or someone in the human form, but God knows it. And I firmly believe that you will face retribution once you cross over.
Karen, your thoughts?
Well, I have a lot of thoughts actually, because I mean, I'm producing several shows and topics like this are coming up, and we're talking about even going as far as like saying you're dealing with a reptilian race here.
Yes.
So I mean, we talk a lot about that on our shows and stuff like that. So I mean, are these people human? Are
Which
they
would actually,
reptilian?
Karen, would that explain the cannibalism?
Yes, sure would. And if you go back through the Old Testament, which we're researching now, there was a lot of that going on.
Yes. Wasn't it
And
Rabbi Finkelstein that actually pointed out that in the Bible it says we will make you eat your children?
Yep. And that's the part like Karina Bataki with the quest for truth. We're asking the question when it says Yahweh, demanded that you kill the children and eat it. Why are we saying God's commanding them, the
Right.
Israelites, to eat their children?
Not my God.
No way.
Not my God. I did it Yahweh.
Yep.
No, not my God.
And I'm gonna tell you, we're taking some heat on bringing that up. We're taking
I
the heat
bet.
on
Oh,
it.
of course you are.
Because if you contradict the narrative, then you're gonna get slapped in the face and called blasphemous. Ucij,
Yes,
you're back.
my phone overheated.
Oh wow. Okay.
It's one
I
of
have a
those
question
mornings.
for you, UCIJ, because when you fell off a couple of times, you were wondering, when you first got involved to go undercover, did you think at the time that you would actually be risking your life?
No, I thought I was actually just I thought I was just exposing things that nobody knew about. I was I would and I didn't always. There's different ways to go undercover. Like there was one time when I called Planned Parenthood and I basically said, I want to make a donation of like $10,000, but I only want it to go towards the abortions of black babies.
Oh wow.
Okay, because I wanted to see what their response would be. And they were like, oh yeah, no, we can do that. We can earmark it so that it only goes towards an African American abortion.
Holy
And
shit.
so like, but the thing is like, I mean, you kind of do these things knowing the outcome, because these people are, these people are basically Satanists. They have. You should have saw what it was like when I went in for my sentencing. It was amazing how political it was, and
Didn't you say that the years came, or the actual days came out to like 1,776?
no, I think it was 776. Yeah, 776 days. So a little over 2 years.
1776.
Can I ask, what was your supposed crime? What did you do?
They say that I violated the FACE Act. So I impeded the workings of a healthcare provider that deals with reproduction.
Wow. This is for the Planned Parenthood
For the
situation?
Planned Parenthood, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, most of my big revelations have been in Planned Parenthood. And believe it or not, they're tied to Jeffrey Epstein. Because the thing is, okay, let's say you build an empire of organ trafficking, okay?
Yeah.
And sure, you start out, back in the 70s and 80s, doing it to the babies that you abort. But as time goes on, you make more and more connections. And pretty soon you're like, you know what? We can get money from kids crossing the border too. So if we can make deals with the cartels to get those kids into the country, and then we get them into our program, more money, more money, more money. So this is, it's like, you own a car dealership and you just keep adding different names of cars that you want to sell and, different makes. So, and that's what's happening is that no one sees that, that for one, we don't need abortions at all in this country. Okay, we don't need them. There's 2 million people on the waiting list every year to adopt babies, and they abort. Between, it depends on where you get the information. The low end is usually 325,000 babies a year, and the high end I've heard 870,000 babies a year. So we've got more than double, almost more than triple the amount of adoptions. And the truth is, and I've always said this, that if there wasn't money in it, the DOJ and FBI would have done something about it.
Well, let's not forget that the abortion clinics were open during the pandemic, but churches were not.
Right.
Exactly. No,
You don't even need an explanation after that.
yeah, that's one of the reasons why they focused on me so hard during that time period. And in all actually, it was my time with Project Veritas that outed me. That because James is a good guy, but he wasn't that smart. And when I started working for them, I told him, you know what, we should all be on tours, we should all have VPNs, we shouldn't be using Microsoft Outlook for communication. We really shouldn't even use iPhones. We should use knock system Samsungs, because you can program those into the KNOX knock system, which is basically the old BlackBerry devices.
Mm-hmm.
And they're so much more secure. And he was like, oh, but that costs so much more. And look at where we're at now. 8 of us journalists had our lives ruined because he was trying to save money. And then of course the FBI came along. They filed non-disclosure orders with Microsoft, Google, and Apple. They got all of our information, and that was how UCIJ was outed. And they finally found out who I was. And I was in Navajo County, Arizona, investigating the Fast and Furious gun running from the Obama administration back in 2010-11, and they caught me there too, but that was I think that was more of a fluke, because that was the ATF, and I was actually trying to stand up for a lot of people who because they have a really corrupt judicial, county judicial and county sheriffs. Like, everybody's related. Okay, the DAs are related to the judges to the sheriffs, deputies, and I mean everybody there is related. And so what they do is they'll target somebody. Let's say I live next to you and I want your property. Well, they'll find drugs on your property, and I'm Judge Holiday, an actual person who had to leave the country because they were found to be doing deals like this, where they would find drugs on the person's property. They would say, "Oh, the property is seized because you bought the property with drug money," and then they end up buying the property from that when it hits. Yeah. So basically, it gets auctioned off. And nobody, the judge already goes around and tells everybody, hey, I want this property, don't bid on it. And so, they get a $500,000 property for, $100,000, $80,000. And it was all a fabrication. And there was times when I was there, and man, I'd be in a room underground, and just the amount of guns that were there, all machine guns, heavy arsenal of handheld weapons, and it was all the ATF and the cartels. And you know what? Nothing's changed. The DHS, HHS, Tara, oh my gosh, I forgot her name. But I was working with her in California, and we were going around, and she was working with HHS, and found that all these kids coming across the border, they get handed off from the cartel at the border. They go into HHS, then HHS sends them by the gobs, by like 25 kids, to the same address here in Pomona. We went to 7 different addresses in Pomona, and every single person that answered the door was a 20 to 30-year-old Mexican man, and there was other men in the room in the background, maybe 4 or 5 to 7 guys. And it's so clear to me. That there's a handoff, that HHS is making a handoff from Mexican cartels to the enslavement cartels, whether it's labor, sex, or organ. And the real sad thing is that it always ends up in Oregon. Okay, it always, because that's where you make the most money off somebody. Sure, you can labor someone out, but that's a long way to get the money back. You can sex traffic someone out, that's a little bit faster. But when you take someone and you organ them out, there's quite a few organs that are really high price items, and so it's instant cash. It's instant.
Man, we've seen video on the Quest for Truth that Karina puts up on. Actually, Facebook hasn't taken us down, but I mean, we've had video of them handing them off in the jungle, the children, and and the little kids take their hands and follow them along, and I'm like, oh my God! And I mean, they harvest the organs without any medication.
Who gets these organs, you guys? Like, where do they go?
There's a big black market for child human organs all around the world. Really wealthy people, especially in Middle Eastern countries, they have children who need organs. There's a huge black market for it, and that's how they do it. And usually what they do is they use the children for sex, because that's a constant turnover of money. And then once they're so damaged that they can't be used for sex anymore, that's when they harvest their organs.
Right. They'll also impregnate the children and then take those babies.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I, for one, am so grateful for what I'm sorry for what you went through. You see, that's just awful, but I admire you, and I think you're a hero for trying to expose the truth. And then, I can't imagine going to jail for just telling the truth and exposing evil. But this is where we are. This is the perfect example of how the government has turned on the American people via the NSA, the CIA, the FBI. All of these institutions used to be so we could spy on and capture terrorists and bad people in other countries.
Yeah, absolutely true. I think that was just all a lie. That's never been the premise of it. It's always been the undercurrent in order to overtake other countries, in order to implement our people into their governments, in order to sex traffic, drug traffic. We're under an illusion that the United States government has been a good government. We've been governed by criminals for millennia. And, that's one of the first things. We do have patriots that love America. I am one of them. Ucij is one of them. Karen is one of them. You're one of them. Teresa is one of them. We are actual patriots that love America, but unfortunately, it needs to be rebuilt. It needs to be rebuilt with voices of truth, because they're taking the truth tellers and the whistleblowers, and they're not just jailing them, they're torturing them, they're gang stalking them, they're kicking them out of the workforce, they're throwing them in crazy houses, and ineffectually making certain that they have no financial means with which to fight back. They're labeling them as crazy. And then the NSA and the CIA have an operation in which they can murder you with impunity. It's happened in my circle.
I will tell you, one of the things that I know about what's happening to me is they are beta testing a conglomeration of things that they've created. In earlier shows, we went over Vault 7, we went over Vault 8, we've gone over Pegasus, we've gone over the metadata rewriting that they can do, deep fake videos. They busted out all of these products on my store, on my situation. So I gotta, like I said, I gotta give it to the Democrats. They've infiltrated to the point, and technology has come to the point where any one of us five can be made to look like we did something we didn't.
Yes.
Okay. And even the FBI, like I talked about on a show, they were trying to frame somebody. He had his iPhone backed up to the cloud. The FBI downloaded and installed child pornography on his phone and said, "Oh, look, we've got child pornography on his phone now." But his lawyers luckily went back and looked at all the updates on the cloud and said, "Look, those were never there. Those were never on the thing." And so the FBI basically got caught creating evidence.
Yes.
And then when they got caught, they were just like, "Okay, we dropped those charges," and that's it. That's the
Yes,
end of it.
and
They don't
nothing happens to
get
them because
chastised. They don't get nothing.
they also
happens
can
to
use
them.
the media, UCIJ, as you well know, to lie. They also can lie in a court of law under national security agencies protocols. Mike Lakina was released because of national security. I played this earlier, so just to give you all a little bit of levity, we're kind of getting short on time. I'm going to play this again.
Look
This
at the
is
Smith-Mundt Act. The
yes,
Smith-Mundt Act.
yes.
Yep, 2012.
This is Arnold. I spelled his name wrong. Schwarzenegger sings "Somewhere Over the Rainbow." Okay, and this is like a cheap ass face app kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
And somebody that's doing his voice. But I looked at this. First of all, it is horrific. But just think about this. That I've used Face App. My friend showed me Face App. I put my face over 11s, and that's frightening. So let's just check this out.
Is that a place you can get to by a boat or a train? Is far, far away, behind the moon, beyond the rain. Somewhere over the rainbow, way up high.
I like the chickens.
There's a land that I heard of once in a lullaby. Somewhere over the rainbow, movies fly. Moons fly over the rainbow. Why then? Oh, why can't I?
Right? That's a simple one. That's a very simple example. Now let's take that and exacerbate it to the point where they're now putting your face on somebody else's face at a crime scene. And
Well,
then
you know what? They didn't have my face. So what they did was they went through my name. They did the parallel construction through a local police department. They got my license plate number, and then they had somebody drive by the facility, and all they had to do was deep fake my license plate number. And if you saw it, I'm serious, ladies, if you saw the still frames and the video footage, you would be like, this is so pixelated. It's so out of focus. And the farther you zoom in, the worse it gets. And somehow they, it's just, I gotta give it to them, man. They're really good at being evil.
hey,
You know?
Jay, we're running short on time. I wanted to ask you, do you have a fundraiser? Can people help you?
You know what? I tried to put one up and it immediately got pulled down. I'm still trying to.
You have a PayPal?
I do have PayPal.
What's
Right
your
now,
address?
I'm trying to put that in because there's a lot of stipulations, and the district attorney and prosecutor, they're like, they're looking for anything to.
Okay, well, you just let us know how we can help you. And as long as you're still walking around, I'm going to bring you in every week.
Okay. Yeah, I was gonna share it with you today because I'm basically just trying to. I had to move everything I own into storage. For the next 2.5 years. They're like, oh well, we'll keep your $50,000. We'll go after your family to get and I mean, this is the judge saying this. You know what I mean? It's like the judge saying it in court. If you try to run, I'm like, I'm not going to try to run for 2 years.
That's crazy.
The DA wanted 22 years out of me.
Oh my God.
Wow.
But they were like, well, if you do this and this and this, then we'll drop the other 14 charges we concocted against you, because they knew they couldn't make them stick. And And I was with a federal defender, federal public defender, and it's like he was like, "You want to take the 2.5 years, or would you rather take the risk of doing 20?"
Jeez.
And I'm old enough that if I do 20, my life's over.
Right.
2 years is
And even those 2 years, it's circumspect that you might actually be assassinated in prison.
Yep.
We are running out of time right now. Karen, Britt, where can people find you?
Yeah, you can find me on the East Coast Hub on Facebook. Also here on Rumble. You can find me on my webpage, theelasticarmyband.com. And I'm on Twitch, Twitter, and the rest of them, and here.
Great. And Tara Crete, where can people find you?
I'm mostly on Rumble and a little bit on YouTube, and I'm on Twitter quite a bit.
The Sacred Valley Podcast. And Teresa Tyndall, where can people find you?
I'm on Twitter and Facebook, the Tyndall Review, and then Instagram, I'm _UFO_lobbyist.
We have 2 more minutes. UCIJ, final thoughts.
Final thoughts are, I like to leave on a positive. People like us are what's going to change this world. It's already happening little by little. There's certain sacrifices that we have to make. I know that the small things that I've done have probably saved the lives of 1,000 children.
I know that too.
So when I total up that I've got to give up 776 days for that many people to save, it's one of those things that we have to be willing to do. We have to be willing to sacrifice part of ourselves to have goodness, and it's worth it in the long run.
Thank you very much. Thank you for everything that you have done and everything that I anticipate that you're going to be doing in the future. And as I said, if you even want to do some shows from, in jail, you can always call us on the phone. We're here for you, not just for the short term. And that goes for everyone that's on the Awake Nation. We are here for you to support you. My name is Penny L.A. Shepherd on behalf of the Awake Nation and David Zublik. We want to thank you all for watching the Awake Nation. We are here on Monday through Saturday. I dropped off the Saturday. Monday through Saturday, 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. Central Time, 9 to 2 Eastern Standard Time. And we entreat you to please join us. You can also you can also find us on awakenation.tv. We're also on Rumble. So I want to thank you again, every single person that is here. We appreciate you for your time, for your diligence. And I'm going to say we're out of time. So we're out of here. Shepherd out.
Goodbye for today from the Awake Nation with co-host David Zublik and Penny L.A. Shepherd. We invite you to join us live on Rumble Monday through Saturday, 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. Central, 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. Eastern. Join us for the Awake Nation News, 1 hour all news, 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. Central, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. Eastern.
Followed by 4 hours of one-on-one interviews with influencers who defy the mainstream narrative.
The Awake Nation, the truth with a shot of espresso.
On behalf of the Awake Nation, with co-host David Zublik and Penny L.A. Shepherd,
we thank you for watching the Awake Nation and ask you to join us again Monday through Saturday.